Hello, this is Emily, president of Self Advocates of ADEC and podcast host. Welcome to another episode of our monthly podcast, Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. Everybody, welcome back to Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. It'll be the last fall edition this month, and today we got Quentin.
Hello.
Hello. Anyway, so Quentin, do you know what your rights are?
Well, rights to every person is the same to anybody else. So, rights are just something that is to every person equally important. You know,
Right.
one person's rights don't cross another's, and everyone has the right to their own. Doesn't matter where you are or who you are; it's the same.
Yeah. So how did you learn about your rights?
Well, very, very early on, actually, doing a lot of traveling to different countries really shows rights in different ways. But a lot of what you hear of rights in other countries is not necessarily as you thought they'd be until you actually go there. So, uh, so everyone, including myself and anyone else, should understand, even in early days of schooling, that you treat everyone with respect, regardless of who they are. So sometimes I was treated well, and other times I wasn't. Mostly because I was always, uh, I was horrible at math, and I didn't focus very well. So I was always put in a different classroom, or, I never really felt that was fair. We shouldn't have to go to a different room because forget stuff in math or science and stuff. So, but I learned that's wrong. And if you're gonna have a classroom, you can't pick and choose who is in the room.
Right. Yeah, and with a lot of standards, there's like a lot of double standards, or
Yes.
since it's so complicated. Like rights are complicated, everything is complicated because there's so many. Do you know the different types of rights and liberties that we have, or privileges?
Well, I mean, everyone rights and liberties are kind of similar because liberties is something that most of the time is believed to be right. Liberties are something that is often people stand up for. So something that is believed to be right, or how one should be treated, but it doesn't always intersect with rights, because rights would mean it's everyone collectively is entitled to
Yeah.
be treated in a certain way, whereas liberties sometimes can be overlooked.
Yeah, sometimes it could be just, and sometimes it could be unjust.
Mm-hmm.
Should be and sometimes it could be considered as like an injustice in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
Here are some random things I just learned yesterday about rights. We have natural rights, civil rights, like the Civil Rights Act,
Mm-hmm.
the constitutional, unalienable things that no one can take away from you. And then there's also human rights
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah, and some countries are better at that than others.
And honestly, like what's considered right or wrong, really?
Well, I mean that can depend on the view.
Yeah,
So no
very
one, no one,
subjective.
no one ever looks at one or anything the same way as someone else. So I don't want to say that in a political way, but it does depend on where you are, and unfortunately, who you are.
Right. When groups of people believe there's an injustice, well, like, what do we do? Do we like combat it? Like I say that with air quotes, or bring awareness to the injustice?
Well, if awareness doesn't work, then combating it is what you have to do, but the way you combat it, um, is should be taken into consideration. Um, if you react in the wrong way to an injustice in a way that may provoke a response, even though you know you shouldn't react that way because you know people are expecting it. But if you do react, you prove them right. It's like Martin Luther King. He did everything peacefully, and so people realized they didn't do it to harm, but to speak out rather than in a violent way, but with words. Uh, there's the pen is mighty. The pen is mightier than the sword.
I've heard of
So,
that.
yeah.
For me, I kind of think of like a peaceful protest.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because in some ways, even Martin Luther King, they decided to use things with their words instead of
Yeah.
using violence.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of any healthcare, like rights?
Well, disability. I was gonna try to use a different word, but you know, healthcare goes a long way with different things, and should be involved with every medical or physical, mental, any kind of Medicare should always be involved in liberties. It's not. It's a right technically to be able to get any kind of health care, even if you can't pay a lot, and
Yeah,
maybe you can't at all.
I think that might be considered like an unalienable
Mm-hmm.
type of right, I think.
Yeah. Medicine is not a new thing, so
Yeah. Do you think healthcare providers like doctors and nurses treat you with dignity and respect?
to a certain degree they have. There's I was premature, so I was born early, but for a lot of time after my mom died shortly after I was born, but so they never actively attempted to figure out and test why.
So you think they're respecting you more now than you were?
This is a different doctor, but yeah,
I'm glad to hear
the
that.
ones I have now definitely do.
When speaking with your doctor, do they explain like treatments of a medication or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I
So they
usually
can.
I see my doctor, my psychiatrist. She does psychology, but she also does medicine. So a lot of the medicine I was on, and I sleep better and do a lot of better stuff than I ever have. So um, medicine, when working the right way, is good.
Yeah, it's like there's no magic bullet,
No.
no one size fits all
Mm-hmm.
with with medication. Are you able to be a part of the conversation with your medical appointments?
Yes, I am. The best kind of doctors are the ones that will work with you, even if you don't currently have parents in the room.
Right. What are some tips you have for other advocates to learn their rights?
Research all rights in your even in your town, in your state, in your country, everywhere, globally, everything. Um, it doesn't matter where you are. Uh, you do have global, I guess you could call them associations that ensure rights are equal to every country.
All right. This has been a very historical expert tip by ADEC Self Advocates. Thank you for the knowledge. And we'll see you next time. I'm Emily, and this is Quentin. Bye. Thanks for tuning in and hearing from your neighbors with disabilities. Check out next month's podcast for a new guest and topic. I am Emily, host of Expert Tips by ADEC Self Advocates. See you next month.